Hello, everybody, and welcome to another session of Leaders Speak, powered by Shiftz. And today we have a very, very prominent gentleman and a very close friend, Mr. Sunil Gandhi. Sunil bhai, welcome to my podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time early morning because I know Oman timings are way before India timing. So thank you so much for starting your day early. Just to introduce Sunil ji, Sunil bhai has been a game changer, especially when it comes to hospitality tech. For the last 15 years, Sunil has been using technology to make hotels and restaurants better. He has also helped a lot of businesses, big and small, to use a lot of fancy technology to run smoother and make guests happier. I think that's the key of using technology. If you can make guests happier and save money for the hotels and restaurants. Sunil ji also knows how hotels and restaurants runs inside out, and he is great in finding the right kind of technology solutions for each one. His work has also helped lots of businesses to grow and succeed. And I'm very, very sure that on today's podcast, it'll be a lot of insights for everybody, a lot of insights for hotel owners, restaurant owners, on how to use different forms of technology and, make the business more efficient and grow better. With that introductory note, I give a warm welcome to Sunil ji. And Sunil ji, thank you so much for joining my podcast. It's great to have you on board. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachit, for having me at your podcast. It's an exciting opportunity to share my journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Sunilji, firstly, want to know a little personal this thing. So born in Sunilji, by background, you are from Gujarat, born and brought up in Dubai and working in Oman. So how did this all sort of come in place? And how come Oman you chose from Dubai? Because Dubai we see a lot of glamour, a lot of things are happening.
Right.
How come being born and brought up in Dubai, how come you chose Oman as the Karma Bhumi?
So it all started way back in 1948. I think we go back almost 5 generations back, and my great grandfather came to UAE in the year 1948. And of course, they started their business there in the UAE. And my father expanded as a virtue of being here in the Middle East. He got an opportunity to expand over here in Oman. And when we came here, we really fell in love with the place, and we saw there was a lot of potential because the market was quite, it was a virgin market, and it was. So even for me, when I finished my education and when I returned back, I had the option either of setting up an office in Dubai. Our paternal office still is very much in Dubai, and but given the option between UAE and Oman, I chose Oman because I saw that there was a huge potential for technology that was required in the suburbs of Oman. There was no internet facilities available. There was a very laid back infrastructure long time back. And slowly and steadily, with companies coming into play and with the internet infrastructure being built by the ISPs, it made doing business much more easier. So we got the first movers advantage. So that's how I chose Oman as a segment. And the country itself is a very beautiful country. We have spillover tourism that comes in from Dubai, so we attract a lot of people that want to see mountains, wadis, right? And and I think hospitality. The Omanis are known for their hospitable. The culture itself is so rich. Wow. So it's an experience by itself.
Amazing. So how come you chose hospitality as a sector to cater to your technological needs?
Good question, Rachit. So it started way back in 2008. We signed up with a company from India, and we saw there were not many companies providing hospitality POS solutions for restaurants, or there were not many companies doing PMS solutions in Oman. So we saw there was a great disconnect in the market, and hospitality was just starting to spur up. So there are a lot of new, restaurants. Can you imagine that all the way up till 1990s, or maybe until 1985, there was only one Indian restaurant in the whole of Oman. No jokes, right? So this is where F&B started to pick up, and as a result, today we are having almost 10,000 plus F&B outlets and almost close to about 1,000 hotels in the country, with a population of almost about 5.5 million. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So yeah, so interesting. So Sunil, I'll start with my first question, which I wanted to ask you. So my first question to you was that how is technology currently being utilized in managing different aspects of hospitality businesses, whether it's hotel or restaurants, such as reservations, check-ins, housekeeping, guest services, or any other service or area they cater to?
So, earlier when we came down over here in the 1990s in Oman, we didn't really see a lot of companies using technology. But obviously today, it's a game changer. Every small outlet is using technology to enable their, and of course to bring in efficiency in their processes, to track their sales, to see what their guest preferences are. So I think technology definitely is a game changer when it comes to tracking performance of the hotel itself. And yeah, I mean, technology really plays a very big role, because when we look at the hotels today, we can categorize these hotels in non-organized segment, and of course you have the organized segment. Now, the organized segment obviously has technology in the back end. The unorganized segment unfortunately does not use as much technology. And this is where we come in, and we feel that technology is a big game changer for a lot of these hotels in terms of upping the game. It's not about selling rooms anymore. It's about selling an experience, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When you go to a restaurant, it's not about what you order from the menu. It's the experience.
Absolutely.
Right? And how can technology help a hotelier or a restaurateur? So we are going to stick to technology specific to the hospitality industry. So I think it really brings in a lot of visibility, a lot of transparency in terms of how your business is performing, and in the way you choose to interact with your guests using technology, right? So yeah, I mean, when we look at reservations, the entire process that we had 20 years back is completely shifted today. Today, you have the inventions of the online travel agencies that people use. Okay, and I can book a room from my mobile app, sitting anywhere in the world, and it just takes me 1 minute to book a room. Earlier, we did not have the luxury of checking the what should I say? If I had to see the star ratings and if I had to read the reviews, there were no tools available. But today you have the TripAdvisors of the world that can show you how exactly this hotel is doing and what the guests are talking about their hotel, right?
Absolutely.
So that's So reservations, I think that technology really has shifted the way we look at in the last 15 to 20 years. Even the traditional check-ins that we used to see earlier are now being modernized by technology. Earlier, the check-ins used to be where you have to stand in a queue and you have to check in at the front office, and where you have to give your identification details, your passport copies, and then eventually the key will be handed over to you, and then you go to your room. But I think with the advent of technology now, what you're looking at is, if I look at Korea, for example, it's one of the most advanced technologies what they use for checking in their guests. It's completely AI based. They've got cameras placed at the counter. You walk in, it already recognizes who you are. Using blockchain technology, they're already able to process payments. And by the time you reach your elevator, the elevator already recognizes who you are, because you've NFC card placed in your phone, and you have your Wi-Fi connected to the phone. So the elevator knows that you have to go to the 7th floor or the 8th floor, and it takes you there directly, even without you pressing a button, right? And then the minute you come outside the door, your door opens. So I think the entire process and the entire journey of what we're looking at right now, the future technology of hospitality is now coming into a reality. Okay. And of course, having said that, I think Dubai spearheading hospitality business, I think you're looking at almost 6,000 hotels. It's one of the largest hospitality markets in the world. There are a few case studies today where people are trying to implement technology to enhance their guest experiences, where there's no human interaction and everything happens so seamlessly, right? So yeah, I mean, In terms of reservations, check-ins, even housekeeping has been automated to a larger extent today. Before, you had to, when a housekeeper had to maintain the records of all his dirty rooms versus the clean rooms, there was a housekeeping terminal. And every time they cleaned a room, they had to rush back to the terminal to make the records right, and then to enter the details that, okay, this falana room has been cleaned, right? But today, with the advent of technology, most of the employees have mobile phones, and I can use a housekeeping app to to change the status of my rooms at a click of a button, and it's done.
Interesting.
Right. So yeah, these are some of the technology advancements that have taken place in the last 10 to 15 years. And there's a lot more to come.
Amazing. I actually didn't know that so much is happening, or so much has already happened. Because, once you are a guest in the hotel, you just take a lot of things for granted, that how it's functioning at the back end. That's amazing to know. So Sunilji, you interestingly brought out two things. Firstly, you said that the focus is more towards unorganized sector. And I think that's a very valid sort of a thing, because I think they really need to use a lot more technology, because a lot of time their processes might not be in place. So to bring in a lot more transparency and to bring a lot more systems in place, I think so that's a very good sector, or a very good vertical within the hospitality sector, I think, which you have picked in. And also, interestingly, you mentioned about guest experience, right? How this entire technological solutions which hotels are using is overall increasing the guest experience. Now, whether it's bringing transparency or efficiency into the system, but I think by the end of the day, what it's doing at a macro level, it's increasing guest experiences. So based on that, I wanted to ask you, what specific technologies are being used by hospitality sector to enhance the various aspects of guest experience, like from a check-in, check-out, or anything. So what basically creates a wow factor for them?
So if I look at the guest journey, traditionally, once the guest checks into the hotel room, the hotel has no way of communicating with the guest, because the guest is already in the room, and there are two different worlds, right, that people are living in. But today, using technology, a lot can be done to engage your guests. You see, it's not about just, hotels are not about selling rooms anymore. It's about selling an experience, and it's about how you can upsell your amenities, right? Because you probably have a spa at the hotel, you probably have a salon, you probably have the gym or the club that you want your members to come and use, right? How do you communicate this? So with the advent of technology, obviously now you have artificial intelligence coming into play. You've got IoT. You've got a lot of engagement tools available today, right? For example, how can I engage with my guests even before they arrive at the hotel?
Oh, wow.
Right? The engagement has to start from that level. So let's assume that you make a booking on booking.com or makemytrip.com, and you choose a hotel, and let's say you booked a room, right, for 2 nights. So the hotel should now ideally choose to start communicating and start engaging the guest from that very moment. Wow. Okay. It's a journey. You have to make that experience of a guest spectacular. And that can only happen if you start engaging with your guests. So in the journey of a customer, that is right from where he's booking the hotel till where he's departing from the hotel, right? There are 3 types of engagement tools that we can use with our guests. At the first step, the pre-arrival, there's something called pre-arrival engagement, where now you start sending messages or emails to the guest. Dear Mr. Guest, we are honored booked in our hotel. Yeah. It's a privilege for us to have you as our guest. And should there be anything that you require during your stay, we would be more than happy to assist you. Right? So what you're doing is now you're personalizing and you're sending these personalized emails to your guests, right? So this starts in the pre-arrival process. Once the guests arrive, imagine, I'll give you a hypothetical scenario over here. In fact, it's not even hypothetical. It's already in reality, and I've already implemented this over here in Nova. Now the guest is checked in, obviously, in the PMS, the property management software that they're using. It's a cloud PMS, and they hit check-in button. The minute they have checked in a guest, you can trigger an SMS to go to a client. Dear Mr. Guest, we hope that you are having a pleasant stay at the hotel. Kindly note that between the time 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., there will be free ice cream and popcorn for your kids in the lobby.
Wow.
Now, there was no way of communicating before with the guest, but now the minute you have hit the check-in button, you can inform your guests about personalized offers that, hey, Mr. Guest, we're having a 20% off only for our elite guests who are staying at our hotel. And you can use and take advantage of this 20% at the spa or 20% off on all the food and beverages at the restaurant. So what happens ideally is now you are starting to engage with your guests right when they are at the hotel.
Yeah.
Right. So pehle guest aayega room mein, they probably feel that should I eat over here? Should I not eat over here? I don't know how the F&B is going to be, or should I just go out with my friends? I have a meeting, right? Now you're starting to communicate with the guest, right? You're engaging the guest. And what happens is that turns into bringing your hotel additional business. So you start upselling your hotel amenities, right? So that's the second level of engagement when the guest is actually staying at your hotel. The third level of engagement that starts taking place is when the guest is actually departing from the hotel. So the minute you hit the checkout button, again, nowadays, with technology being in place, you have tools like TripAdvisor and you have other guest review portals, right? Third-party tools that are available to you that can be easily integrated with your PMS. So imagine at the PMS, the front office, you say, I want to check out my room, and the guy hits the button, check out, you made the payment and you departed. Again, there would be a message that could get triggered directly from the PMS itself, which would be sending the guest an email from TripAdvisor. Okay, hey, Mr. Guest, we hope you had a pleasant stay. We would like to hear your review and please tell us how was your experience, right? So ideally what happens is these levels of engagement, okay, will want the customer to come back again and again and again.
Absolutely.
Right? And then you can perhaps trigger another email, let's say after a month. Okay, hey, Mr. Guest, we haven't heard from you. We hope you're doing fine. We're already missing you. Guess what? We have a 20% off on your next stay, or when you book with us for the next stay, if you book with us 2 nights, you're going to get 1 night off exclusively only for you. So ideally what you're doing is you're now engaging with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that we can talk about in terms of enhancing your, the guest experience.
Amazing. And the more interesting thing is that you're already implementing these solutions at scale.
Absolutely.
That's and I think what you mentioned here was pre-arrival. So if a hotel already knows, if they know my likes, my dislikes, why I am coming there, if it's a work thing or, my family is visiting, or plus if I'm visiting with family, how old are my kids, because now, so especially from my side, my vacations are only about my kids and my family, right? And I would like to do activities and find out activities, which are there for my kids. I would like to know, how is the hotel equipped enough for my kids, or what can be there for my kids. So what I basically wanted to ask you is, and especially now, irrespective of the category of the hotel, the guests have also become very demanding, right? Because I think as guests also, we want to get the best value of the dollar which we are spending, and we want to be treated as individuals, and with certain level of personalization coming into the picture. So Sunil bhai, do you think that technology which is available right now can help hotels and restaurants and resorts increase their guest service experience by personalizing it and knowing the customer beforehand? Is it possible? And if yes, how are they doing that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let me start with an example, a real life case study that we have done over here, implemented in Oman. So we have a client that has properties that has almost 7 to 8 properties, right? They have properties all across from Al Wasil area to Salalah, right? They have 7, 8 properties. So they do a lot of business with destination management companies. So basically a lot of DMCs do business with them. and they typically get groups of 200 people, 100 people, right? And they manage groups. So again, using technology, what you could perhaps do is you can start doing your guest profiling. Now, guest profiling and guest segmentation is very, very important. What are your likes and what are your dislikes? Do you like a smoking room? Do you not like a smoking room? Do you like your room to be cold when you walk in, or do you like your rooms to be warm? To liking. So this particular client of mine was very particular in terms of how they want to see their guests. So at the when you look at it, it's a chain of hotels. So naturally, then they have something called a CRS sitting at the top, which is your central reservation engine, right? Now your guest profiling is centralized, which means that now if any individual hotel, let's assume that you stayed at Hotel 1, and now after 3 days you travel to Hotel 3 in a different destination, but belonging to the same group. Now Hotel 3 has access to Hotel 1's because your guest profiling and guest segmentation is all centralized built at the top, right? So what happens is all the hotels have access to something called guest profiling, and now when you are checking in hotel number 3, they will already read about your profiling and what your likes and dislikes are.
Amazing.
And what? So let's assume that today the front office manager comes in and sees, okay, this is my arrival list for the day. So he'll look at the guest profiling very quickly, and then he leaves some notes for the housekeeping. Okay, boss, can you please leave a basket of fruits in this particular room? This couple is newly married, so can you please leave some flowers over there? So what you're doing is now you're personalizing that relationship, and then you're personalizing that experience for that guest. So
absolutely.
And of course you can do personalized tours. The guy, when a couple walks in, they want a bottle of champagne on arrival, and every time they fly in the country, and they've always asked for a bottle of champagne. So imagine if the guy who checks you in comes to your room and says, boss, I want to make sure everything is okay. Do you want me to bring you a regular champagne? Sure. Fantastic. How does he know that? Well, the information already exists now.
Absolutely.
Right. So you are familiar. You are creating that atmosphere and that ambience for the customer to feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, the unorganized sector is still not learning this. And this is where the organized sectors are taking advantage of the situation. So if you see what is happening, if I look at big cities today, most of the 5-star hotels, it's become a saturated market. So most of the bigger groups have now started entering into that 1-star, 2-star segment. Why? Because this is where the scope of growth is. It's very simple. If I am getting into a 2-star property and I'm going to pay, let's assume I'm going to pay $50 a night. Okay, a 2-star property, $50 a night. Okay, are you going to stay in a mom and pop type of a hotel, or are you going to stay in a Hilton, which is a 2-star property, which is going to give you a better experience? But of course, you're paying $75 or $80 instead of $50. You might as well just spend another additional $20, $30 more and you stay in a good hotel. But then you get that experience. I stayed in a Hilton. Well, it's a 2-star. But again, having said that, it's still a Hilton. So now what happens is you're creating that. And if mom and pop type of hotels, these individual operators, if they do not understand where the game is, they're going to lose out. And if they're not going to use technology, to bring out the best of their property, it's just, and it's the entire unorganized hotel or even the restaurant space, they're going to struggle to, to make their ends meet.
Absolutely. And, interestingly, you mentioned guest profiling here. So, I'll share a personal experience. So last year I was traveling with the family to Phuket. Lovely resort, and I entered the resort. They brought in a champagne while we were checking in, and they brought different types of pillows. Which pillow do you want? Like smaller miniature pillows. Then they even brought different type of scents. Which scent would you want in your room? Different type of flowers. Which flower you would want in your room over your period of stay and everything. And I absolutely loved it. But who didn't like it? My kids, because they were crying. They were tired after almost 10 hours of traveling and everything. They just wanted that process quicker. They could go to their room and everything. Also, they were super hungry during that entire time, right? Because you leave home, you eat something in the plane, but you're tired by the time you reach your hotel and everything. So I was just thinking that, instead of asking me what time I'm going to arrive in the hotel, which is like a standard procedure every hotel does, they could have asked me all these preferences beforehand. Are you traveling with kids? Would they want to eat something when they come in? We know that you are landing at 2, so probably you'll be in the hotel by 3:30. You want something ready in your room. You want a little snack for your kids. What kind of pillows do you want? So that half an hour at reception, according to them, was a wow experience. According to me, it was a wow experience. But my kids didn't like it. They were like, Dad, can we just get to the room real quick? Because we are tired, we want to use the washroom, we want to lie down, and more importantly, we want to eat. So I think what you are saying, if technology can be used more interesting or more intelligently in profiling the guest, what they want, why are they coming there for, and having them planned out the entire experience in a better way. I think that's a real winner there, coming from a personal experience. Yeah.
So, yeah. So adding to what you just said, Rachit, it's very important to understand that technology is something that you can't take lightly today, especially with hospitality. Be it restaurants, be it hotels, you're creating an experience, you definitely need to use technology. So the check-in process itself is so cumbersome today. If you understand, if you walk into a hotel, let's assume that you're going to a 5-star resort, right, in Dubai, and it has 600 rooms, 500 rooms, and there are about 12 check-in counters.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know how much time it takes to check in the counter? It probably takes half an hour to 45 minutes just to do a check-in. Imagine you've traveled all the way, you've landed into a city, and the check-in process takes such a long time. Now, what these hotels are doing is they're using technology.
Yeah.
Now, let's assume that you booked a suite. I go and I tell the front office that, hey, I'm here to check in. They'll ask you, why don't you go take a seat? My colleague will be with you right away. They bring a tablet and they check you in right where you're sitting. Hi, lobby, can I order you some coffee? What would you like to drink? Right? So this is the first way to do it. The second way is where now guests have been given self check-in portals.
Yeah.
Right. So as a guest, you have access to guest portal of the hotel. You can do a self check-in where you enter all the information like your passport number, or your identification details, your expiry date of the identification details, right? And then you're putting in your date of birth, your anniversary date, and all those other things, and all your requirements that you wish to experience while you're going to stay at the property or while you're going to check in the property. You can also mention, special remarks that I would like a basket of fruits in my room while I arrive, or I would prefer having a bottle of champagne when I arrive at the hotel room. So now, when you arrive at the hotel, you've already done a self check-in.
Yeah.
How does it help the entire process? Well, all your details are already there in the system. I don't have to capture them by taking your passport and then checking you in. You've already done a self check-in, which means right from the time I arrive at the airport and I'm now on my way to the hotel, I open my app, I can do a self check-in, and by the time I arrive at the hotel, I'm already checked in. So all you do is you go to this thing, they'll verify your verification or your identification details, and they'll hand over your keys. The entire process becomes less than 2 to 3 minutes. So again, because of the sheer amount of time saved, you're creating that wow experience for your guest.
Wow.
So I think the unorganized sector of hotels are still not using technology, and this is where we come in and we help them, we educate them.
Yeah.
This is what has to be done. If a hotel is screaming that there is no revenue, well, there is no revenue because you're not focusing on the basic simplicities of what a hotel provides to a guest, an experience. Absolutely. You think you're selling rooms, but the reality is you're not really selling rooms. Nobody gives a shit about selling rooms anymore.
Absolutely.
It's about how you can create that wow experience for your clients.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think from technology perspective, a lot of interesting things which are happening, and happening at scale. I think, Sunilji, we spoke a lot about how technology is helping, the hospitality sector in give a wow guest experience and everything. So we spoke about the front of the house or, guest-centric technologies and everything. But what are your views about technologies which can actually help the hotels or restaurants in managing their internal processes better? So, for example, like we know, and when I talk to my hotelier friends or people who run restaurants, inventory management is one of the biggest challenges because a lot of spillage happens. Like a lot of theft can happen there. And especially it can become huge losses because if you are not wise enough on how to manage your inventory properly. And with that, your pricing strategies, how do you price your rooms, how do you price your buffet, how do you price other things, and the overall revenue management, which is very, very critical for any hotel, and more importantly for people operating in the unorganized sector. So how can so firstly, is there technology to manage all these things efficiently? And if yes, how well is it adopted by players, and how is it helping them in this entire sphere of things?
So, Rachit, these are excellent questions, and these are addressing all the pain points of majority of the clients, be it structured hotels, be it organized hotels, unorganized hotels. And again, I have to say, technology has its place, and without technology, the hotel industry cannot thrive, cannot survive.
True.
So I think you touched on a couple of things, a couple of topics, inventory management being one of them, revenue management being the other one, pricing strategies being the third one, right? So now there are tools available. The hotel bookings and managing the travel agencies today. So you have to understand that come 20 years back, when you had to fly down and you had to stay in a hotel, you actually made a phone call, you actually sent them a fax that I'm coming, I need a reservation between two rooms, and you waited for a fax to come to you, right? But with the invention of the online travel agencies, now it's at a click of a button and you have the reservation on your phone.
Yeah.
Right? But then hotels now have to manage their inventory for the next 365 days. Now that becomes challenging. And now you don't just have one OTA. You have so let me ask you a question. Do you know what are the total number of OTAs in the entire world? Just an approximation. So there are more than 600 plus OTAs in this world. Amazing. Okay. India we are only looking at Make My Trip, goibibo.com, cleartrip.com, yatra.com, savari.com, all these OTAs.
Yeah.
Now you imagine if a Chinese person wants to come and stay in your hotel in India, or a Japanese person has to come and stay and he's making a booking in Japan. Believe you me, they are not going to use any of these OTAs. They're not even going to use booking.com or Expedia. So every country has their own OTAs specific to their own, built in their own language. The Russians use their own OTAs. Chinese use their own OTAs. Australians use another OTA. Wow. The West uses a different OTA. So if I look at now managing your inventory, obviously you need your presence to be there on all these different OTAs. So when people find your hotel, at least your visibility is there, right? So how can you first start building visibility? By making sure that you're there on all these OTAs. So if I look at most of the unstructured hotels over here, let's say in Oman, most of them will have a maximum of 2 to 3 OTAs. Booking.com, Expedia, Agoda. Ho gaya. Very happy. But then they don't realize that you're missing out on revenue opportunities that have to come from different OTAs. So firstly, when we look at technology today, there is something called a channel manager in place that will help you connect your PMS. So channel manager always is updated with what your real-time inventory is, and it pushes your real-time inventory to all the OTAs. So imagine if a hotel is 50 rooms today, a channel manager always has a two-way sync between the PMS, and the channel manager knows that now you have 50 rooms, it'll keep pushing 50 rooms. The minute you get one booking from booking.com, now it knows you only have 49 rooms. And let's assume that you got an offline booking and you had 10 rooms gone. So now from 50 you went to 49, from 49, 10 rooms gone, now you're back to 39. So channel manager will maintain your inventory. So firstly, your inventory is now being centralized. So your big question, how do you manage your inventory? You manage your inventory through your channel manager, because the channel manager is going to be the heart of your entire operation. It knows everything about how many rooms you have at any given point in time, on any day of the year. Because you imagine 50 rooms multiplied by 30 nights. That means you have 1,500 room nights to be sold in a month. I'm giving you a perspective here, right? 1,500 multiplied by 12 is the amount of rooms you have to sell in the whole year. Now let's talk about pricing. For pricing as well, you need to depend on your ComStat data. So ideally what happens is hoteliers, they just plan for a week, 10 days. I'm talking about the unorganized ones. But the organized ones, obviously now they have an entire different process. They have a revenue management practice. So it really, you bring the best of your hotel out. And of course, you're doing justice to the price that you're selling your rooms at. But unfortunately for the smaller hotels, the unorganized ones, they still follow something called static pricing strategy. The big ones follow dynamic pricing strategy. So static pricing mein kya hoga? Most of your pricing will remain the same throughout the year. You don't care whether it's a holiday, if it's Gandhi Jayanti, or if it's any kind of a big function, if it's Diwali, if it's Ramadan, it's Eid holiday. It doesn't matter. My rate is 2,000 rupiah per room night. Mera fixed rate rahega. So these are challenges of the smaller hotels where they're not able to scale up their revenue. Right? And they have a lower RevPAR. Okay. So now using technology, you're able to first maintain your inventory. Now there are dynamic pricing tools which are available as part of your channel manager, where you are now able to change the pricing based on what the ComStat data tells you. Booking.com पे जब आप जाते हो या आप Expedia पे जाते हो तो you can, sorry about this, I just had an unexpected phone call. तो जब आप Booking.com पे जाते हो तो आपको आपके ComStat के बारे में आपको डेटा दिखता है. When you look at that data, then you can take a call as to what my rate is going to be. So let's assume that I'm in the vicinity of Rui in Oman, in Muscat area, and I've got three 2-star properties around me in a span of 1 kilometer. So I know who my ComStat is very clear. So first and foremost, you need to learn, the hoteliers need to learn how to define who their ComStats are. You could be a 3-star thriving to be a 4-star. So then your ComStat has to be, you have to make yourself comparable with the 4 stars, not the 3 stars. Because if you have a 3-star property, but you're giving all the facilities of a 4-star, then your ComStat has to be with the 4 stars, not the 3 stars. Unfortunately, ComStat एनालिसिस ही लोग गलत करते हैं, उसके वजह से फिर आप रेट में भी आप मार खाते हो और उसके वजह से आपकी जो रेवेन्यू है, आपका जो रेवपार है, वो आपको बहुत कम मिलता है. Great point. And then you're not able to scale up the revenue. ठीक है. So pricing strategies, now there are dynamic tools which are available. Thirdly, there is something called revenue management systems. Now revenue management again can be broken in 2 parts. One, you could have revenue management as a product being used in the hotel industry. Second, you could have revenue management as a service. Now, what is the difference? With revenue management system, there are tools available and it has AI built into it, so it understands कि भाई क्या best rate होना चाहिए. आप आज के तारीख में अगर आपको ये room बेचना है, and let's say there's a football match happening this is an interstate football match happening today, right? It's Kolkata versus Jaipur. For example, there's a cricket tournament. Now you know that, and that match is happening in Jaipur, for example. Now you know that most of the people who are into this interstate cricket competition or whatever, they're going to come and they're going to occupy these rooms over there. So naturally, the pricing graph never moves in a straight, consistent manner. It's like your flight booking. Absolutely. If you are traveling, if you plan to travel to Goa, and let's say you're planning it 1 month in advance. Let's say you get the ticket for 5,000 rupees. But if you buy it on the last day, perhaps you're going to end up paying 8, 9, 10,000 rupees. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. The rate goes up. Simple as that. So it's again supply and demand. So even within the hospitality business, there is an early bird offer where you book 14, 15 days before your arrival, you get a better rate. And then there are last minute bookings as well. Right? So I think it's highly competitive. And so coming back to revenue management as a product and as a service. Revenue management as a service is where most of the smaller hotels, you have to understand one thing, bigger hotels already have cluster director of revenue for maybe having 6-7 hotels. So let's assume it's a Marriott. Marriott has, let's say, 10 properties in Dubai. I'm giving you a hypothetical example here, right? तो मैरियट के पास वहां पे रेजिडेंट एक्टिव क्लस्टर डायरेक्टर ऑफ रेवेन्यू बैठा होगा जिसके नीचे 6-7 लोग होंगे, उसकी पूरी टीम होगी, एंड दे विल मैनेज दी 6 to 7, 8 प्रॉपर्टीज. अनफॉर्चुनेटली इतना बड़ा खर्चा एक छोटी प्रॉपर्टी उठा नहीं पाएगी.
बिल्कुल.
So now there are third-party companies where these smaller hotels, and if they want to get organized, they can outsource their revenue management to a third-party revenue management company. और उसका फायदा ये होगा कि the minute they sign up with a revenue management company, within 3 to 4 months, I can tell you eyes closed, I've not even seen any property. I don't know how well the property is doing, but if they don't have revenue management as a practice, there will be a clear increase of a minimum guaranteed 20% increase in revenue.
Wow.
Right? If it's a city like Dubai, where hospitality business is thriving, minimum growth would be 25 to 30%.
Amazing.
Okay. So revenue management brings in a lot of process oriented, structure oriented, pricing strategies. They understand the game.
Yeah.
पहले क्या था, रेट लगा के आपने रख दिया तो भाई होटल को अपना रूम बेचना है तो वो बेचते रहता था. लेकिन अभी क्या हो गया, now with revenue management coming to place, your pricing has become dynamic, so perhaps your price may change 4 times in a day.
Yeah.
So for example, if you check the pricing of a hotel in the morning hours, let's say by 5 a.m, you would find a different pricing. When you check in the afternoon, the pricing will be different. Evening time price will be different. Night time, maybe by 12 baje आपने room check किया, all 4 different timings you check, you would find different pricing.
Yeah.
So now dynamic pricing changes the prices very dynamically, and now there are tools available where even this pricing changes automatically, even without human intervention.
Wow.
It's already available. It's already being done. In fact, we have already done it at one of the places over here in Oman.
That's amazing.
Where he didn't want to have the hassle of changing prices, boss. I want my tool. I want my revenue management tool to change the pricing automatically. Yeah. So we set it up and we configured for him. We understood whose ComSat were. And now naturally it's playing with the ComSat's data as well. ComSat एक बार यार अपना जो competitor है जिसका टूल नहीं रहेगा, वो दिन में एक बार रेट्स चेक करेगा ना. मेरा सिस्टम तो बार बार ही चेक करता रहेगा. एवरी 10 सेकंड कीप पिंगिंग और चेक, भाई इसका रेट तो देख क्या है, इसका रेट तो देख क्या, उसका रेट तो देख क्या, अच्छा इसने गिरा दिया क्या, इसने भी गिरा दिया क्या, चल एक काम कर, एवरेज निकाल, ये प्राइस हमारा इतना कर, और हमारी ऑक्यूपेंसी कितनी आज की तारीख में 50% है. सो इट यूजेस मल्टीपल फैक्टर्स लाइक योर ऑक्यूपेंसी, it uses the data of your ComSat, it uses what day of the week are you in, are you on a weekday or are you on a weekend, all of those things, and then it plugs in data and you get your dynamic pricing activated. So apart from this now, sorry, I know I'm taking it, I'm stretching a little too long.
Please, I'm really enjoying this.
But the discussion is quite intriguing. Now you could perhaps do integration with CRM as well, where a lot of your data, again, as we said, CRM is required for your guest profiling.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of this information can be centralized in your CRM, where your F&B manager could understand that you have certain allergies. So while you're at the restaurant, at the hotel, they already know your food preferences because you have a CRM in place. Most smaller hotels don't have a CRM in place, and they feel it's a waste of money and they don't require it. But the reality is, why the bigger hotels are successful? It's a fact, Rachit, that just कोई भी country में जो बड़े organized chains हैं, जब वो आते हैं, जो छोटे mom and pop hotels हैं, वो खत्म हो जाते हैं. उसका reason बड़ा simple है. They understand the game very well and they have technology in place. And the smaller hotels, the faster they realize that they need technology, they can grow to becoming a huge chain themselves.
Bilkul.
But there are, unfortunately, very few clients have that understanding. And this is where we come in and we educate our clients and we help them, we handhold them, we show them what technology can really do for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Spending money on technology is one part of it, but then how do you derive value from this?
Value from it
is what is more important. Okay, because this amount you're going to it's an expense every month for you. It's a subscription based model.
Yeah.
So how do you build revenue now? Then you have people like us who engage with technology. So I've been involved in technology for hospitality for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Again, we've briefly spoken on restaurants. I think more overly we have spoken more on the hotel side. Restaurant side, the technology also is playing a very big role, and I want to maybe take possibly a minute on this as well to explain to you. Before COVID, pre-COVID, what happened was a lot of my clients here in Oman were using offline on-prem solutions. From 2019, 2018 se main apne customers ko I'm trying to convert them from on-prem to cloud. Nobody wants to convert. The technology acceptance was very poor. Now, when I looked at Dubai as a market, when I looked at Oman as a market, मैं कह यार ओमान में मैं जल्दी आ गया यार. Oman is not ready यार for cloud. और मैं अगर दुबई को देख रहा हूँ तो दुबई में तो यार भाई साहब 2000 वो लोग ने तो क्लाउड 1990s में ही लगा दिया था, ऐसे समझो आप, ठीक है ना? I hypothetically speaking again, but they adopted the technology adoption in Dubai was far more better than we had in Oman. And for me, it was an educational journey. Going to a restaurateur and explaining to him what the benefits are of coming onto cloud, right? After COVID, what happened? There were a lot of places where you couldn't travel. There were roadblocks. You couldn't go from one village to another village. And all these restaurant chains that were managing 30 outlets, 20 outlets, 50 outlets, it became difficult for the owners to now start getting data and start getting visibility.
Absolutely.
This is where during COVID, so COVID actually was a boon for us because we must have migrated almost 200 of our clients only during COVID.
Wow.
Okay. On cloud. Yeah. So लोगों के पास कोविड में बिजनेस नहीं था, हमारे पास टाइम नहीं था, बिजनेस इतना सारा था, हमारे पास टाइम नहीं था because we were so busy converting these clients from our on-prem to our cloud solutions.
Also,
so it was a great experience.
I think restaurants were the only business which were running. Banda khata
running, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we did quite well over there. And again, with cloud technology coming to place now, so many other guest tools, engagement tools again started coming in restaurants as well. I could capture your all your information. Let's assume that you come to a restaurant. Now there's a barcode kept at your table. I can scan the barcode. I can even place the order from my mobile app. I have a mobile, I can scan and then I can directly place the order. The order goes and sits on the POS machine. And a waiter could perhaps come and I can ask you, sir, I want to confirm your order. And he presses the button and directly using Wi-Fi technology, the order's going to the kitchen, right? And a KOT is getting printed.
Yes.
So, and I can now also choose to pay my bill directly.
Directly, yeah.
Imagine हम 3 लोग बैठे हुए हैं टेबल के अंदर, टेबल के ऊपर, हमने खाना मंगाया, आपने एक जूस मंगाया, मैंने कॉफी मंगाया, किसी एक ने बर्गर मंगाया. Now we all decide that we're going to pay our own bills.
Yeah.
I can scan the barcode, I can see the bill. Okay, I can pay my share from there.
Yeah.
So
you can have a real-time talking amount.
Yes. So now when you open your app, you'll already see that, okay, one person has already paid for the orange juice. Now my coffee is remaining. So you paid for the coffee. The third person can say, okay, orange juice is paid, coffee is paid, only the burger is remaining. So now the third person can pay.
Yeah.
Right. So now, again, then you have something called loyalty programs.
Yeah.
Up Subway, I do not know in India how they manage it, but over here, when we eat 6 Subways, so they give us a small paper, and every time you eat a Subway, you have to put those stickers. And the minute you complete those 6 stickers, you get 1 free Subway.
Okay.
Now, ye sara app pe aa gaya. So there's loyalty programs available now.
Yeah.
So that you could use now. Perhaps if you come to my coffee shop or to my cafe and you are going to order 10 coffees, I'm going to give you 1 coffee free. So every 10th coffee, you get 1 coffee free.
Absolutely.
Now all this can be tracked online using technology.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Right.
Very interesting. And I think one of the very, very interesting things what you brought in this discussion was that, we were only talking about guest experiences till now. And interestingly, what technology and what dynamic pricing is also doing is not because dynamic pricing now has become an inherent part of a customer. So whenever we are booking a travel or we are planning a travel, the first things, because we always have a range of dates. So we always see, okay, which dates are the flights cheaper? Is it a morning flight which is cheaper or an afternoon flight which is cheaper? Which days are the hotel cheaper and everything? And that's accordingly how we plan our thing, because it's basically based on in our systems now. And also what I learned, what it is doing to hotels is basically improving their occupancy rates also, because if you know that, okay, these are this is the season where I'm or these are the dates where I'm going low, I can probably throw in a very lucrative offer so that at least my occupancy rates are higher. Because if people are staying in the hotel, they will eat, they will do some other activities, as you said, that the ancillary business also comes into the picture. So I think, yeah, from a revenue point of view, it's doing a lot of different things, and I think dynamic pricing can is a way of attracting a lot of customers, because uh, a lot of I believe that a lot of customers now are also very price conscious tourists. So they want to save money, and at the same time it's bringing a lot of footfall to the hotel, or to a particular restaurant. So because I remember, way back when I was a student in Canada, so just talking about dynamic pricing back then, no technology, no nothing. So there used to be a Indian restaurant, and a lot of us, we don't eat non-veg on Tuesdays. So what it did, it said that, okay, on Tuesdays I am throwing in 50% off or 60% off on all my non-veg items, and people who are used to eating non-veg on a given day used to go there specifically on Tuesdays, and because they were getting a deal. So and it was all they used to put up tent cards and everything just to publicize that. But dynamic pricing back then was was sort of also prevalent. So interesting, yeah, and how technology has taken it to a whole new level. It's very interesting to know. So Sunilji, I'm really loving this conversation and learning a lot, because two of my favorite things we're talking about today, technology and hospitality. And this brings to my last question, Sunilji. You being a technology evangelist, working in hospitality sector, technology hospitality from last 15, 20 years, I think you have dealt with so many clients, served so many different use cases, seen from zero tech to high adoption of technology. How do you see the technology going forward? And which are the areas you think that technology is still lacking, or is still at a nascent stage when it comes to hospitality businesses? And what trends are you monitoring?
Okay. So to answer your question, technology already exists. We have to see now how technology adoption is going to take place. The biggest challenge, you see, there are market movers and there are market makers. When you had Uber come into picture, it's a taxi app company. People laughed at them. Uber क्या कर लेगा? आज उसकी valuation सर 75 billion की उसकी valuation है. ठीक है? The first taxi app company, the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
There cannot be a second Uber. There cannot be a third Uber. Sure, yeah. Most of the people try to replicate making an app that look like Uber. They can never be Uber. Let's face facts. So similarly, within the PMS, within the technology frame, the market movers are trying to capture the masses, and there's a lot of technology built around it. There's a lot of AI built into it.
Absolutely.
I know of a company in Korea that has implemented almost 300 hotels where you have state-of-the-art infrastructure. The minute you enter the hotel, there's I believe the robotics partner is Samsung, and the technology company is called Yanorja. And so what they've done is they have created this complete infrastructure where you don't have to carry anything. The camera can sense your face. It can identify who you are. So let's say you have booked a room with 2 people and you are traveling with your wife. Now it'll even identify your wife.
Oh, that's
right. Because yeah. So it knows that you're now let's assume that there are 3 people and we are walking together.
Yeah.
Now that will bring the attention to the concierge guy and then the front office guy. And I'll inform Kimo there are 3 people that are walking. Although they only are booking for 1 room, only 2 people. So that kind of intelligence has been built already, and this is already existing.
But so Sunil, just wanted to ask you one thing here. Since it's doing so much, right, through facial recognition and everything, how does a guest ensure? Because just like you said, it can recognize who the other person is. I immediately freaked out, right? Because so don't you think it's evading your privacy? And how do you ensure as a customer that whatever data is being captured is just to make your experience better and not to be used any which else? Because and I think that's negative about having these kind of technologies also. So how do you ensure that whatever is being captured and whatever is being done is being done in the more rightful manner?
Yeah, I mean, ethical data, something that it's a very large subject to talk about. If you look at, most of these softwares, most of the technologies that are being used in the world today, they are all GDPR compliant. Okay. And it's a type of a compliance that they use in Europe, and it's protecting data privacy. So you'd have to get certified. So there are tools in place, there are norms in place that you need to follow in terms of protecting data privacy of your users, right? So GDPR compliance being one of them. A lot of users use credit card information, right? So I think it's called PCC, PSI. I'm just trying to look at what is there's a particular term to it. I forget the that helps you protect your credit card information. So a lot of people using credit cards to book rooms or to make payments or whatever. Yeah. Okay, so again, there are norms and there are tools available that can protect your PCC DCI credit card. Yeah. Okay. So most of the software companies that allow you to use these tools. So data security also plays a very big role in protecting your identification and maintaining all the privacy about your likes or dislikes or whatever it is. Right?
So Sunil, sorry to divert from the topic. I'm just trying to bring back to the topic. So this thing. So just to for the people who are watching us, right? Who are because most of the people who are part of this are hospitality and restaurant owners, and what according to you are the top 1, 2, or 3 trends, especially from technological point of view, which you are very excited about, or you are seeing them develop or come to age when it comes to hospitality businesses?
Sorry, could you repeat your question? I lost you out there. Last bit of it.
So basically, I'm saying that a lot of people who are watching us and who will be watching us are basically restaurant hoteliers and a lot of hospitality enthusiasts, and also because since you are the main guest on today's podcast, a lot of technology people might be watching it too. So what I wanted to understand from you, and what are your top 1, 2, or 3 picks in terms of the trends for hospitality technology, which you are monitoring very, very closely, and you think that these 3 trends or 2 trends will become very, very big in coming future?
So as I said, that there are market movers that are trying to shift the entire game. आज जो hospitality sphere में जो हम PMS को देखते हैं, PMS is like your front end. This PMS will become your back end, and in your front end would be your AI. Okay. So I think over a period of time, what we're looking at is that there are few market movers that are trying to change the trend. Are they going to be successful? The question is debatable. I really don't know. But there are these trends when I look at places like Korea, Germany, where all these hotels, without any human intervention, you are able to go stay in a hotel. I can order breakfast and a robo will come and deliver breakfast to me. And these are live, already happening. Prototypes are already ready. Right? Now, it's just a matter of mass adoption, whether it's going to happen or not, because there's a cost of the hardware, there's a cost of the robotics. The biggest challenge in hospitality is finding manpower. Do you know that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I know that.
Okay. Sure, be it housekeeping, be it front office, be it your GMs, it's very difficult to source people. The right people to come and work for your organization. Absolutely. Right? So what is Korea adopting? Korea is adopting today a technology where everything is run by robotics. There is nobody to greet you on the front office.
Yeah.
It's self-check-in kiosks. You go, you give your identification, you're checked in. You directly take the elevator. You don't even need a card to show the elevator for it to take you to the room or to the floor. It takes you directly to the floor that you are on, and you don't even need to open the door. When you have your mobile phone, it already knows using Wi-Fi technology, you can enter the door. Absolutely. The minute you enter the room, I need my room to be at 15 degrees or 18 degrees. I need my curtains to be open when I arrive at the hotel. I want my TV to be on and I want this Falana channel to be running there. Everything is going to be customized based on your experience.
Yeah.
The market movers are definitely trying. And as I'm saying, it's make it or break it.
Absolutely.
And if this happens, so these are some of the trends that I'm really looking at very closely. And I'm looking at who is going to be the first company to mass adoption. When I look at Marriott's or I look at the IHG, when I look at the Hiltons, I'm not really sure how much of technology they're going to embed. But of course, the biggest drawback of this technology is you're completely removing the human touch element from the entire experience. So that also is a very risky business, and that will affect manpower.
Absolutely.
So these are some of the trends that I'm looking at. I think we need to find a fine line of balance between the both, using technology without hurting the HR, human resource industry also that is responsible for running the hospitality industry.
Absolutely. So I think
so fine balance has to be there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Such an insightful session, Sunilji. And just to wrap it up, I think what I'm taking back from this wonderful discussion is that although this business is highly human centric, right? And I think no amount of technology can remove the human element from this business. But yes, there is a lot of technology which can bring in customization, personalization of the guest needs. Because as you said, personalization. Now, if I look back, the reason why I go to a particular restaurant a lot is because the server knows me, right? The way I'm treated there, the way I'm greeted there, they would know how I would like my food and everything. And that's my default first choice, because maybe the
creating
food,
the experience.
Absolutely, maybe
creating
the food
the right experience.
Absolutely, maybe the food is not 10 out of 10, and now that and this is a real use case. Now, a few days back, that server actually left, and when I went there a few days back with my wife, everything was still the same. But I was like, "An maza nahi aaya," and then we were like, "Kyun maza nahi aaya?" Because the personalization part was missing. Because so yeah, if personalization across domains can be controlled by technology, they know if I'm entering into a restaurant, how, for example, how will I like my drinks, how will I like my steak, what do I want this thing, what is my gap in the food which I will like, multiple things. So I think very interesting times to come, because I think technology, when it comes to understanding the guest, is just at the starting point. And I think a lot new trends are coming up, which I'm sure you will be keeping a close watch on, and we'll be having more talks on them when these trends come up. So Sunilji, with that, I would be wrapping up today's podcast with you. And I really had a great time. A lot of learnings for me personally on how technology is helping this wonderful industry. And again, Sunilji, thank you so much for coming us and sharing all the wisdom and knowledge with us. I'm sure everybody who will be listening to this will be taking a lot of knowledge, and I think a lot of gyan from how to go about this business now. So thank you, Sunilji, for all your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachit, for the opportunity to join your podcast on this fascinating intersection of technology and hospitality industry. I think it's truly been a very enriching talk, and we covered most of the aspects of technology, the human touch, the experience itself. So thank you so much. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.